Okay, welcome everybody who is catching the replay because nobody's watching this live unless you happen to find the link. And so I am going to turn the floor over to Heather and let Heather take over from here.
Hi, everybody. So Rolly and I are going to be having some fun tonight. Are you excited?
I'm nervous and excited all at the same time. The nervousness is that I don't really know what it is that's going to happen or what's going to come up or what's not going to come up. So that nervousness about things, but otherwise, but I'm really excited to be able to learn more because I know that we've had that opportunity to be able to learn about what the body code is, but being able to have that experience of what is it and being able to demonstrate that for the people in my group is pretty kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, I will be gentle with you. Just ask your subconscious to be gentle. That's what's going to be really doing the work here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through. I have a PowerPoint just to explain really like what this work is and what the body code is. I know we had the other show, I guess you can call it show, whatever, Facebook. Yeah. But I know some people might not have caught that. So I just want to like kind of condense everything together.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and screen share and I'm going to talk through this. I talk a little bit fast, but I just kind of want to like, just kind of give everybody a gist of what this is. And then we'll get to working on you. So, okay. So let me just turn the screen share and maybe see if technology is working for all of us today. Okay. Slideshow. Okay. See if it's coming up. There we go. Okay. So this is all about how the body code can combine with therapeutic and coaching tools. We're going to really be specifically focusing on the body code, but I'll talk a little bit about those combinations, how they can increase your self and body love. And with you, we're going to be focusing on. And so the question first is like, people are like, well, is this work even for me? And it's for you if you've ever struggled with loving yourself, if you've ever had self-doubt, and if you've ever felt like you can never get rid of that inner mean girl inside of you, which I'm guessing if you're human and a woman, but definitely just human, right? We have that inner mean person inside of us who is always, telling us we're not, pretty enough, skinny enough, thick enough, all, like, believe it or not, some people are too skinny and it's like, I'm not, heavy enough, but we have that mean girl that tells us, we're not enough. Right. And so I always preface every time I share this work with people that I am the biggest skeptic of all. And that I really, I just often think that like this stuff is a bunch of wackadoo stuff. And the way that I understand it, and I can explain it, but I can't fully explain how it works. In that it's just like I can't with the internet. Like I cannot explain how the internet works, but every day I go on it, I don't say, I don't know if I should do this because I don't understand and it's not going to work. Like, case in point today with Facebook screwing up, like it screws up every once in a while, but I'm still going to I'm going to use it. Right. And so that's kind of how I approach this is I can't understand fully how it works, but it does. So I keep using it. And if the internet stopped working, I would stop trying to use it. Right. But we're still like, I have hope it's going to work. So in order to understand how the body code works, right, we have to understand energy as much as we can humanly possible understand energy. And so energy is essentially every single thing in the world. Some of energy is in physical form and some is invisible, things we see and things that we don't see. And as humans, we're pure energy. We have our invisible energy. I need to swap that around. Our invisible energy is our spirit. And then we have and that's like words like our chi or ki or prana are some words that people may have heard before when describing energy. Yeah. And right, our physical body is energy in the form of matter. And our physical matter is the densest form of energy. And energy essentially is frequencies. Okay? And so when I talk about trauma in this work, because it's so important when we're struggling with self-love or body love. And trauma is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience that creates strong emotions. And it doesn't matter if it's real or imagined. And some people are like, I don't get that. And I give the example of, think of a lover that you really enjoyed being with, and think about being with that person and feel their touch. Remember how it felt when they touched you. Remember how it felt when they caressed your neck and they put their hands in your hair. And as you start thinking of that, for most people, if they really like think about it, their body starts, having feelings. They might start tingling in some places, right? Their body's like, ooh, something fun's going to happen, right? But it's all just in our mind, but our body doesn't know the difference, right? So does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
Yeah. So, and trauma also doesn't matter if it was a big event or a little event. If it was trauma to you, it matters. So if, your dad said something to you at 5 and he was like, oh, you're really silly looking, right? Some people would say, okay, that's so minor. Like, I wasn't sexually abused, or I wasn't this. But to you, if it was just devastating to you, then it's trauma, right? And if we don't allow ourselves to feel it, then it gets stuck inside of us. So from trauma, we have emotions. And what are emotions? Emotions are our reactions to feelings. And so when you think about, I had just done this on one of my social media posts recently. If you think about you're walking in the woods and you have a bear running towards you, right? Your body all of a sudden, like, you don't have to tell it, but it just starts feeling these things, and you turn and start running, right? And those are the feelings, and our emotions are basically like the stories that we tell about our feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So if we're like, oh my gosh, like I felt afraid when I saw that bear, and I'm so stupid, I shouldn't have felt fear. Well, yes, you should. It's a bear. Right? So our emotions are reactions to our feelings, and our emotions and feelings, they get interchanged, right? So I'm just going to use the word emotions, but emotions are the language of the body, and our thoughts are the language of the mind. And emotions are pure vibrating energy, and they are super useful. They make life colorful. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to feel depressed or sad. Okay, but if we're always feeling high all the time, it's boring. Like, we really don't want that. We want the whole rainbow of color.
Yeah.
And emotions also are generated by organs and glands. In Chinese medicine, a liver, right, will produce anger and bitterness and self-abuse when a liver is unbalanced. A kidney if the kidney's unbalanced, you may experience creative insecurity. But whenever an organ is imbalanced, you're going to feel certain emotions than you would a different organ. Okay. So when we have emotions or trauma, when it gets trapped, right, it gets trapped because we don't allow ourselves to feel our feelings, or we cannot feel those feelings because we need to protect ourselves. Right? There are certain times when you have to shut down to actually get through. Right?
Yeah.
You hear people in traumatic events say they just disassociated. They could see themselves, but, and so most of us have at some point or another just, totally experienced that. And so what happens is when we don't feel the emotions, right, then we get what's called emotional baggage. And baggage is things that encumber one's freedom and progress, development, or adaptability. So we stay stuck in that place where the emotion gets trapped, and we operate from that place.
Yeah.
And so they affect us emotionally, physically, and they can cause problems immediately or later on, decades later, and showing up as what the Western medical system calls dis-ease. And so a trapped emotion is literally, it's a ball of vibrating energy, and it can be the size of an orange or a cantaloupe. And most people have hundreds, if not thousands, of trapped emotions. And these trapped emotions cause imbalances in your energy field, which then create symptoms. And I'll talk about more of those in a second, which then can morph into dis-ease, as I just mentioned. So some of the physical problems of trapped emotions and trauma is aging issues, allergies, asthma, cancer, diabetes. digestive issues, fibromyalgia, headaches, impotency, infertility, joint pain, low immunity, multiple sclerosis, neck pain, nerve pain, organ and gland issues, sinus issues, weight gain. Let me turn my thing, vertigo, and so many more, right? This is just like, a beginning list. And then the emotional mental problems, ADD, ADHD, we talked about that, a little bit, addiction, anger, anxiety, depression, eating disorders, fighting. And the fighting is because we feel like we have to defend all the time. Right? Insomnia, intimacy issues, lack of love, learning disabilities, loneliness, low self-esteem, mental illness, money issues, nightmares, paranoia, phobias, PTSD, self-sabotage, stress, suicidal thoughts. Right? We can go back to that. So, and again, this list is not exhaustive. There's so many other things that, we can add on to here. Money issues. There's just so many, like anything always comes back to energy, always.
Yeah.
So our trapped emotions, they can happen from any time in life, from the time we are conceived to the present day. And actually, some of those can be inherited. And I posted in my group today, I think I attempted to, I don't know if Facebook let me post it, or no, it didn't let me post it. I have a post waiting to go up about how scientists are discovering that emotions are passed down, at least 7 generations. And so I've seen this when I work with people of certain ethnicity. I can't say the word.
Ethnicity?
Thank you. Yeah. In that one of my best friends, she is Jewish. And when I've worked on her, shame and guilt come up a ton, right? If an Italian client, where like anger and frustration comes up a ton for her, right? And so they're seeing these character traits, these emotional character traits of like things that just go back generation after generation. And trapped emotions can also, as I mentioned, be from a real or imagined event. Right? Our mind is really good at believing whatever we tell it to believe.
Yeah.
And why things like, I'm sure you talk about like the thoughts that we think, all those things are so important. Right? Yeah. So how do we then turn this around is like, we have to first understand the more trapped energy we have, the more you create, because it's kind of like you see an accident on the road, like all these cars just keep piling up. And you're like, why are they going to that accident? Right? Is that negative energy pulls more to it to feed it. Right? And so the way that we turn it around is by releasing the emotions. And so this emotional baggage is released using the body code so that we can become our best selves. And I love this picture because it's like the conveyor belt, and it's like, we're just taking this baggage and just shipping it out. We're going to put it on a plane, and it's just not ever going to come back to you. It's the one time that we want our baggage to be lost. Right? So our it's helpful to understand too that we have our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. Okay? And our conscious mind is the tip of the iceberg. And our conscious mind is very limited. We like to think that it's not, but it really is so limited. I mean, you think about like, what did you have for lunch 3 days ago? I would have to really sit and think hard about it.
Yeah.
Okay? So as much as we want to give it credit, it doesn't remember everything. I've heard it said that it's anywhere from 1% to 5% of our intelligence. And our conscious mind, it receives input, analyzes, and decides. That's it. Right? Then we have our subconscious mind, which is all of that underneath the iceberg, right? Underneath the water. It's 99 to 95 to 99% of our intelligence. It remembers and archives every single thing. And it's like, did you see the movie, that Pixar movie Inside Out?
Yes.
Right? So good. If anybody hasn't seen it, definitely see it. But I forget the girl's name in the movie, the main character. Do you remember it?
No, I don't. There's that conscious mind, right?
Exactly. So, this character, I think it was like 11, 12-year-old girl. And it was like the movie is all about like the inner workings of her world. And she'd have an experience, and when she had that experience, an emotion would be felt, and that emotion would drop down into her conscious mind, and then these different characters, it was like anger and joy and sadness, they would then decide where this would go in her subconscious, and they would drop it down into different parts of her subconscious. And you think about like spheres, like those balls that you go into those those big containers, balls that you jump in at, like, you know, kid playgrounds and stuff.
Yep.
It was just like that. And so there's just all these, like, when she went into her subconscious, there were just hundreds of thousands of these, you know, balls, these spheres of emotions. So our subconscious knows what's wrong, even when our conscious mind doesn't, and it knows exactly what we need. And so I share this story because I think it's so great. So I had this client, she's like, after our session, she's like, I let go of the anger. I choose to be happier, you know, but without pushing it. She's like, it somehow happened naturally. And I'm like, yeah, because we release the emotions from it. And so in order to expose those trapped emotions, you need to ask the right questions. It's like a Google search, right? If you type in, like, where's the nearest, if you just type in pizza, you're going to get a different result than, you know, find me the closest, you know, pizza place to, you know, my location, right? So yes. The better question we ask, the better results we're going to get. And so we have to look in the right place, which is more the subconscious. And we need to work with the conscious and the subconscious, because if we're just doing subconscious stuff, right, it's going to take us a little bit longer. And that working with the conscious is having the conversation about what it is that we want to actually address. And as we have the conversation, sometimes it's like, oh, I think I need to work on this. And as we start talking a bit more, because it's just asking the right questions, then it's like, oh, okay, this is what I need to work on, right? Yeah. And so that's what you and I had that conversation of, like, do we work on self-love? Do we work on body love, right? And just through the conversation, it's like, okay, I think it's the body love, you know, that I need to work on more.
Yeah.
So our subconscious is like a lie detector. It knows the difference between yes and no, between truth and lies. It knows, our muscle testing can access this information. And if anyone is not familiar with muscle testing, you may have heard the word kinesiology before. And the way I explain it is this, because some people are like, that stuff is just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. So I want you to think about, as you're looking at these slides, with this next slide that I put up, I want you to just notice how your body feels when you see this next slide, as you imagine yourself walking into this picture, okay?
Okay.
If you imagine yourself walking into this room, how does that feel?
Scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you need to come up with those words first, or could you feel your body shift as you, like,
my body immediately took a deep breath before going in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I'm going to put up another slide. And again, notice how it feels for you when you think about entering into here. How does that feel?
So that feels like makes me feel nervous, because it's like, everything's all perfect.
How, that's so fascinating. As far as the light versus the dark, how does that feel?
It felt enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
And like the view is beautiful, but it was like walking into the room, it's like, oh, where am I? Like, but not in a bad way. It was like, but it was still that nervousness.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. Yeah. So and that's because of these stories that are going on inside of your body and your subconscious, right? I'm sure, like, if we dug deeper, it may be like, oh, am I good enough to be in this clean, you know, like, spotless room? Right? Am I going to mess it up? Will I get in trouble? Should I not touch anything?
And that's exactly what it is. It's like, well, what happens if I move something? Right? So it's like, everything's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So our bodies, like, will let us know, like, it'll tense up or it'll relax. That's muscle testing, essentially. So when we go to release emotions, it's just releasing energy. A trapped emotion can be released with energy, essentially setting the intention that we're going to release it, and then using magnetic energy. So magnets magnify things, and they're magnets, and they magnify things at least 10,000 times, right? So we set the intention, we use a magnet, and combining it with science and the acupuncture system, we release the emotion. And I'll show how when you and I start to do the work, right? But I just wanted to like quickly explain it, that in the acupuncture, there's meridians, and we have a governing meridian, and the governing meridian, you think of it as like the main circuit board, and that from the middle, like it's basically just goes all down. It's like a rubber band, goes down your spine and then back up the center again. And that's the governing meridian. And that sends the messages out to everywhere else. So when we go to release the emotions, I will take a magnet and just run it over my head. And that sends the message out to the points that it needs to go to release it. And every time I say it, I'm like, I'm such a wackadoo. I can't believe I'm saying this, but So the healing process, once we release the emotion, it's just automatic, right? And it can begin instantly, and it can continue for 1 to 3 days because, as I mentioned, our matter is the most dense form of energy. So it has to take time to move out of the body. And a great way to think about that is, if we do a juice cleanse or any kind of detox, right? Like I just finished, well, it's all gone, but I just finished drinking this green juice. And if I had never drank green juice before, and I drank one, like for 7 days, all I drank was green juice for 7 days, I would have a lot of stuff coming out of me and I might not feel so good. Right? Yeah. Because you have the healing crisis. It's the crap moving out of your body. Right? And that doesn't feel so good. And a lot of people give up. Then they're like, oh, I thought I was supposed to feel better. And it's like, well, yeah, but we have to get all the crap moved out first. Yep. Right. So, so when this happens and this stuff moves out, people, say things like, this one client, she's in England. She's like, I feel like there's this massive expansion of heart space and I just feel open. And like, I hear that so much with people. And so how does this relate to loving the skin that you're in, body love? So we have to first understand that our heart, right, is super fragile. And it is considered our second brain. I think it should be considered our first brain because our heart is formed. It's the first organ that's formed. Okay? And so that's where so much of our emotion and energy is. It's the core of who we are. And, heartbreak is really dangerous because we then believe that we need to protect ourselves. And heartbreak is when we experience any kind of emotional trauma or loss, and then our heart feels pain. And so this is, we want to release the trauma and the emotions so that we can love the skin that you're in. And this is the things that other people have said and done to other things that other people have said to us or done to us that then cause us to retreat and hide. Yep. And our love for ourselves personally is blocked because of the emotions trapped around our heart. Right? And so most people build this thing called a heart wall, which is basically trapped emotions that build a bomb shelter around us. And it's really good because when we are in a traumatic event and experience, we need to protect ourselves, right? Except it's not a good permanent solution. And it's like walking around with armor when we're no longer in battle. And for a lot of people, when they do that, then they experience things, they have this heart wall and they experience their love messages tainted. They hurt relationships or they're in hurting relationships. It creates isolation, it blocks our creativity and success. It creates self-doubt. It creates a lack of self-love. And so one of the things that I worked with a woman who we released her heart wall, and she said, since I released my heart wall, I've noticed a lot more acceptance of myself and others, and there's more love across the board for me, which, don't we all want that? Right? Yep. Like I'm sharing a lot more of myself and I'm sharing honestly rather than what I thought needs to be said, which is, was new for her. And this one I think is really important. And I need to share this as just a reminder for you as we do the work is she's like, I thought the heart wall release would be like a big bang, whether we're doing heart wall release or body code stuff, any of it. It is compounding. So she's like, I thought it was going to be a big bang, but it's more like a slow and gentle sunrise. As time went on, I noticed more and more changes. And that's so true. It's not like we do a session and you wake up tomorrow and you're like, oh my gosh. I wish it worked like that, but it doesn't.
And one of the things that I always remind people is that it took you a while to be able to get here. And when you're talking about, like, one of the things that you said is that it's 7 generations or it can go back 7 generations. It's like, then you've got like a whole lot of stuff that potentially could be accumulated there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I do work on myself so much, and I do other forms of energy work stuff too. And I was talking to somebody the other day that did some work on me, and I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I thought I had really got to the bottom of this. Nope. Still showing up, right? Layers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it comes to self-love, and this is the same for body love, it's interchangeable, right? When we release the heart wall, we can go deeper and release what's preventing you from being 100% in acceptance of yourself, 100% nurturing mode of yourself, and 100% in alignment with the vision that you have of yourself. And through the self-love alignment or body love protocols, we release the trapped emotions and energies that are keeping you tied to your past self. And so the body code, and we'll see this when my version looks a little bit different. I just haven't updated. It's all the same. I just haven't got the prettier looking version.
Yeah.
You know how technology, you're like, I don't want to mess with what's working for me.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. So there's the belief that there's 6 different things that cause imbalances in the body. It can be energetic. It can be within our circuits and systems. It can be toxins. It can be pathogens, misalignments, or nutrition and lifestyle. And within each of these, there's these subcategories, which we'll get into. Okay. And so we're going to use muscle testing to see what needs to be released so that you can be in a place that you can love yourself. Okay. So it's totally possible to be free of these trapped traumas and to fully love and accept yourself. And it's a journey, we're all working on, and it's something to work in partnership with. So I'm going to stop this screen share now. Oh, wait, no, let me just share this one thing. Why I think this is really helpful is it's working in partnership, because if we just go to a therapist, right, we all need space to tell our story. Healing comes from when we can name something and we can be witnessed. It's so valuable. And we need to create that space for a new story to be told. Often, though, what happens for a lot of people in therapy is they just keep telling that story over and over and over again. And that becomes their identity, of a victim of this happened to me. Right? And so we need to have direction to move towards it, which is what coaching does. But if you don't clean up the subconscious, it doesn't matter how much you keep trying to move towards it. You're going to be stuck in the same space, which is when you combine therapy and coaching with the body code, and you work with the conscious and the subconscious, so the whole person, because therapy and coaching just works with the conscious.
Yeah.
Okay? And you no longer live in the victim identity. You're able to tell the story without an emotional charge. And that's ideally what we want to do, is release. If we tell a story about something traumatic that's happened to us and we're crying when we're telling it and stuff, we're still living that story.
Yeah.
We know that we're healed when we can tell that story and have no emotion about it. It was just something that we experienced. Right? And releasing it from the body can move us into a new identity with ease and grace. Okay. So let me stop this screen share. Maybe. Wait a minute. Okay. So that's the foundation of everything. Now it's time to jump in and have some fun.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. So I am going to screen share again. But before I jump in, I'm going to have a couple of different screens up that might, I will do my best to keep it as clean as possible. Right. But what people will see, so when I muscle test, okay, I will take my my pointer finger and my thumb, and I'm going to link them together. Okay. And when an answer is strong, like a yes, if I say my name is Heather, I cannot pull it apart. Okay? But if I say my name is Mary, my body goes weak. It's that lie detector thing. When something is not true, your body goes weak.
Yep.
And I, again, that's the forever skeptic. I was working on my sister-in-law wanted me to do some work on her. She was having some energy issues, and she was like, can you check and see if coffee's making me have low energy? And did I share this story with you before?
No.
So I don't drink coffee. I've never drank coffee in my life. Okay? And I just have always been, I want to have my body get up in the morning and not need something to get it up. And so I also was diagnosed as hypoglycemic when I was a kid. And so I learned that caffeine is, not good for that. So I just never drank it. So I know that a lot of people love it and do great on it, but I'm just coffee's the devil. not the devil, but like, you know, I'm like, come on, do we really need it? So that's my personal belief. So she's like, can you check to see if coffee is what's making me tired? So Heather's mind is like, yep, it totally is. But when I muscle tested, it was like, nope, it's not the coffee. Those are ways that I know that it's not me answering, right? That it's like your subconscious giving the answers.
Yeah.
So we did a little bit of, so we'll check up. I'm just when it's solid, yes, you know, get that. And then, you know, if it's a no, it's weak. And I know, because I'm so used to doing this, I tend to go a little bit fast. So please stop me and slow me down and ask questions along the way. Okay. But we're going to go through, you and I had spent a couple minutes creating a vision that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had sent me some statements that are, and when we do this work with people, there's some pre-work for them to do. It's going through a questionnaire, and the pre-work helps to get their conscious and their subconscious to start saying, oh, we're going to start working on this together. Okay. I had somebody else, somebody I'd sent one to yesterday, and she's like, the funny thing is, she's like, I just actually tonight started, I was like, you know what, I'm going to eat good tonight. And we haven't even started doing the work, but just her doing the pre-work, right, was really like helpful in that. And so you'll see a couple different screens, and we're going to go to that screen that we have on your work. And I'm just going to talk through it as we go through. So let me just pull that up. Okay. Close that page. And again, please stop me, you know, if I go too fast. Let me just put one other thing. I have this program that's called Text Expander that, like, if you put in snippets of a word, it'll expand the word, which is really helpful when I do this work. Every once in a while, when I go to write in something else, it, like, you know, will write in the snippet that's programmed in. So just bear with it, since every once in a while it'll screw something up. So, okay. So we're going to screen share again. Okay. Okay, so over here to the left, this is a list of trapped emotions. It's 60 different emotions, as you can see, different columns, different rows. And as I mentioned about the Chinese medicine, like, these are the different organs that they're connected to these emotions.
Yep.
And then this is the page that we're going to do the work on. This essentially just talks about, like, how in order to have the body you desire, your body needs to be vibrating at that level. And so we're going to check in to see how much acceptance mode, stagnant mode, and rejection mode you're in. And we'll do that first, and I'll just go through and kind of do it that way. So first, do I have permission to work on you?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to take a deep breath in and get myself grounded. Okay. So my name is Rolly. Okay. So put the date in here. Okay, so is Rolly in acceptance mode of her body more than 50%? No, more than 40%, more than 45, 45, 46, 47. She in acceptance mode, 47%, okay? So it's 47%. And we want all these numbers, they're gonna add up to 100, because we're gonna work towards getting acceptance mode up to 100%. So as we do this, because this isn't a one-time thing, right? This is a process. If we jump from 47 to 100, that would be a lot on your body, right? So you'll see these numbers of stagnant and rejection. They might flip flop a little bit, and somebody's like, why is one going down, one's going up? And that's just natural, okay? So 47, so taking it by 100, so that's 53. So is she in stagnant mode more than 50%, less than 50%, less than 45, less than 40, less than 35, less than 30, less than 35, less than 35, less than 30, okay, 35, 34, 33, she's stagnant mode, 3%, yes, okay, and so that means rejection mode at 20%, yes, okay, and
so now what do these three things mean? Like, are you going to go more into that? Just because I'm not sure who will be understanding that part and not. So
yeah, so we want you to be 100% acceptance mode of your body, okay? And so right now you're accepted 47%, Right? Stagnant mode is just like, think of a stagnant pond of water, right? There's no movement whatsoever. And rejection mode is like 20% of you rejects your body. Right?
Okay.
So stagnant, like nothing happening, and rejection is 53% of what you're experiencing right now. Right? And there you are in acceptance mode of it, but it's less acceptance and more rejection and just, stagnant energy about your body.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so next we ideally want you to be in nurture mode 100%. Right? And the difference between nurture mode and the opposite of nurture mode would be in conflict mode of yourself, right? So nurture mode is, you love and nurture your body and you feel great all the time. And you love taking care of it. And conflict mode is like, I have this body. I know I should love it, but I hate it. Right? And stagnant again is just, as we said, stagnant. Okay? So, and I close my eyes often when I do this too. So just for anybody who's watching, it's like, what you doing? Just because it helps me to focus. So it is really in nurture mode, more than 50%. No, more than 40%. No, more than 35. Is it 35, 36, 37, 38? Is she in nurture mode at 38%? Okay. And is she in stagnant mode more than 60%? No, less than 60. Less than 60, 55, less than 50, less than 45, less than 40, less than 35. Is she in stagnant mode? More than 35%, 35, 36, 37. Is she in stagnant mode? 37%. Yes. I always have to use a calculator. I do not do this in my head.
I think that's the social work background.
And it's just Heather's terrible at math.
I'm going to stick with my story. It has to do with being social work mode because that's where my brain's at.
Yeah. Okay, so conflict, so that leaves 25%. So is she in conflict mode with herself at 25%? Okay, so, whoops. Okay, so again, we want to ideally get these numbers up to 38 or up to 100%, right? And we're not going to get there by the end of this session. It's just too much on your body. Okay? Yep. And that's why this work takes multiple sessions, right? So we had crafted this statement, and what I want you to do is to read this out loud. And after you finish reading out loud, and I'll scroll up as you get down to it, read it out loud. And after you do, I'm just going to check if you're in alignment more than 50%, more than 60%, right? We just want to see where you in alignment you are, and ideally get it up to 100% in alignment with the statement. Okay?
So I am freely giving to and receiving love from my body through eating clean, walking daily, or every other day, no less, being able to get proper rest. My relationship with my body is healthy, supportive, and allows me to feel energized, clarity, good, more flexibility, more physical independence. I am highly... I'll wait till you finish moving it. I am my highest and best version of my physical self. I am also creating balance in my emotional, mental, and spiritual health and spending time on things that uplift me, such as being able to walk, hiking trails, and dancing. My relationship, do I read this one too?
Yes.
So my relationship with my body assists me in nurturing healthy, loving friend and family relationships and keeping all other areas of my life balanced and happy.
Okay. So is Rolly in acceptance, is she in alignment with this more than 50%, more than 60%, and more than 55, 55, 56? Okay. Okay. So you see how my computer likes to do wonky things. Let's put the right date in here. All these percentages, right, are very different. From the nurture mode to the nurture mode to the acceptance mode, right? So this statement, like, your subconscious is like, yeah, like, we're in alignment with that. We want that. But there are some things in the nurture, department and the acceptance department, right, that are needing some love and attention. Okay. So what we're going to do now is you had written a list of statements that I call negative and positive vibration statements. And what that means is every word that we say has a positive or negative statement, right? If we say the word hate, right, we feel our bodies tense up. Right? If we say the word love, right, we feel expansive, unless love has been something that has been turned negative for us. Okay? So these statements, these are things that you have had, like ones that, the negative ones are that you currently believe, but would like to let go of. And the positive ones are ones that you would like to believe, and currently, like, you don't feel like you believe it on a cellular level, right?
Okay.
And as we go through this process, whether it's live right now or like as I do the work, right, feel free to say, if more statements come up and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is coming up, send it to me because we can work on it, right?
Okay.
So the way, and I also have a list over here of statements. These are positive statements, and you can see I have a whole list of all of these and negative ones, right? That is just a list to pull from, because I'm going to ask your subconscious, do we need to work on something on your list or on this list, right? Because sometimes, like, sometimes there's things on this other list, like, it's safe to I don't want to say anything, but sometimes other things come up on the list that, we didn't think to even write down. Okay. And so, oops, wait a minute. Let me get rid of that. Sorry. Didn't realize that one was up there. So I'm going to pull up. So first I'm going to, and everything that I do, we're just going to put in the work. I'm going to put it in down here. And when I'll share this Google Drive document with you, and anytime I do work, all of the most recent work will be at the top of the work, right? So like I'll do today's work, but then when I do work, in a couple of days, it'll be up above this work. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So is there something, let me just change this. Okay. Sometimes the computer just wants to do things as it wishes, and it drives me crazy. Okay. So is there something in these statements that we can release so that really can be 100% in alignment? Yes. Okay. Do we need to work on Rolly's list, on this other list, on Rolly's? Okay. Do we need to work on the negative list, on the positive list? Okay. So the first set of 5, the second set of 5. And I just chunked them together into sets of 5. So it's in the first set of 5, second. Is it the first statement, the second statement, third statement? Okay. Do we need to work on my weight doesn't define who I am? Yes. Okay. So we're going to then ask, is there something in the body code? I'm going to pull up the body code right now. Is there something in the body code that we can release that is causing conflict with this statement? Yes. Okay. Is this on the left side, the right side? Okay, so it's over here. Is this energetic? Is it circuits and systems? Is it toxins? It's circuits and systems. Okay, is this on the left side? Is it on the right side? Is it organs? Is it glands? Is it chakras? Okay, and so chakras are our energy centers. In Western medicine, our body has energy centers. It's basically our endocrine system. Because I know some people are like, oh, chakras, right? But all of these are connected to certain systems that actually run our body. And so do we need to work on something on the right side, on the left side? Do we need to work on the root, on the sacral, on the solar plexus, and the sacral? Okay, so the sacral chakra is all about relationships, emotional needs, pleasure. It's linked to the testes or ovaries. Right? It is all about, physically it's connected to reproduction, emotionally it's connected to joy, mentally to creativity, and spiritual to enthusiasm. Okay? And so I'm just going to go, why are you doing this? Okay. Which one was it? Sacral chakra. Okay. Sorry, I don't know why this is, we talked earlier about like ADD. I don't know if it's ADD or just like, it just drives me nuts when it just changes. When I go to take notes, like it'll just do whatever it wants. Like make it whatever size it wants to be. Okay, so the word the body language uses is it'll say that the organ or whatever is unhappy. Okay. And so a TE is trapped emotion. Typically is a trapped emotion when it comes to chakras that are not happy. So I'm going to go over here to this list. And is it trapped emotion in column A, column B? It's in column A. Is it odd row? Is it even row? Is it row 2? Is it row 4? Is it row 6? Is it humiliation? Is it jealousy? Is it longing? Is it lust? Is it longing? Can we release longing? Yes. Let's see. Okay. We release longing. Yes. So we're just setting the intention to release it. And I'm just going to run that magnet over my head. Okay, did we release longing? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion we can release? Yes. Okay, is it in column A, column B, the odd row, even row, row 1, row 3? Is it effort unreceived? Is it heartache? Is it insecurity? Is it heartache? Can we release heartache? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. Is it in column A, column B? Is column A, is it odd row, even row? Is odd row? Is it row 1, row 3? Is row 1? Is it abandonment? Is it betrayal? Is it forlorn? Is it lost? Is it forlorn? Can we release forlorn? Okay. So forlorn is basically a deep sense of sadness. Okay. And we're going to release that. Okay. Did we release forlorn? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion that we can release? Yes. Is it column A, column B? Is it odd row, even rows, row 1, row 3? Is it crying? Is it discouragement? Is it rejection? Is it discouragement? Okay. Did we release discouragement? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion we can release from our sacral chakra? No. Okay. My weight doesn't define who I am. No. Okay. Is there still conflict with this statement? Yes. Okay. Is there something else in the body code that we can release to resolve conflict with this statement? Yes. Okay. Is it on the left side, the right side? Is it energies, circuits and systems, energies? Oh, you know what we forgot to do? We're going to have to do this. We forgot to go through the pain evaluation. We'll have to do that. I'll do this one and then we can take a break and go through that. We'll do it we can do it at the end. We can do it at the end. So this is on the left side, the right side. Okay. Is this an idea allergy? Okay. So an idea allergy is an energy that results from negativity surrounding a certain idea. So if you, if I was like, hey, tomorrow you're going to have, the totally fit, slim body that you've always dreamed of, you might feel your body, ugh, or it may relax into it. Okay. So we can be allergic to an idea that's positive, and it would sound silly, right? Why would we be allergic to something good, right? But there's so many subconscious patterns that are stuck inside of us. We can be allergic to something that would be considered negative, like loneliness, or to something neutral, like money. So I'm going to check in. Is this idea allergy to something positive, negative, neutral? Is something positive? Okay. And so it's a positive idea allergy. And my thing is typing slow because I think we're on so many things. So this is where it gets fun, because then we can go, is this, and I'm going to write as positive. And oftentimes we don't have to figure out exactly what the idea is, but like we go off of just common sense. Is she allergic to the idea of not being defined by her weight? Yes. Okay. And so like when you think about like not being defined by your weight, it's like, no, I have to be defined by my weight, right? Because I'm guessing that that's probably an identity that you've had much of your life, is that your weight defines you. Would that be accurate or totally off base?
Not necessarily that I have. It has but that's like familial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so I guess technically me too, but now that I said it out loud.
Yeah. So is there an underlying cause of this idea allergy? Yes. And is it on the left side, the right side? Is it energies? Okay, so it's energies. Is it on the left side, the right side? Is it post-traumatic offensive? Is it post-traumatic? Is it on the left side, the right side? Is it psychic trauma? Is it physical trauma? Okay, so it could be physical trauma or emotional trauma. So I'm going to ask, is this a physical trauma? Is this an emotional trauma? Okay, so it's an emotional trauma. This is like the hardest part, is that it just takes this typing part. How old are you?
49.
Okay. So we're just going to ask, so this emotional trauma happened between 29 and 49. This happened under 29. Okay, between 19 and 29, or between 9 and 19, okay, between 9 and 14, between 14 and 19, is it 14, 15, 16, has happened around 15. Okay, so there's an emotional trauma around 15. And when there is an age, our subconscious doesn't think in hard numbers the way that our conscious mind does. And so we, give it a year or two. So it could be, a range from like, 13 to 17, which seems big, but our subconscious doesn't think the same way our mind does. So can we release this emotional trauma? Yes. Okay. Can we release this emotional trauma? Yes. Is there something else causing this idea allergy? Yes. Okay. And is this something on the left side, the right side? Is it pathogens, misalignment? Right side. Is this an appendectomy? Okay. Is this left side, the right side? Okay. Is this left side, right side? Is it clavicle bones? Is it scapula, humerus? Is it scapula? Okay. Is it the right scapula, left scapula? Okay. So the right scapula. So your right scapula is unhappy. Okay. And
now your scapula, that's that thing that's in the back of your shoulder blade?
Yep,
okay.
Your wing bone. Yep. Yeah. So is it unhappy due to a trapped emotion? Yes. Okay. The trapped emotion, column A, column B, is it odd row, even row, row 1, row 3, is it confusion, defensiveness, grief, defensiveness? Okay. Can we release defensiveness? Yes. Okay. Is there another trapped emotion we can release? Yes. And is it in column A, column B? Is it odd row, even row, row 1, row 3? Is it crying, discouragement, rejection? Can we release rejection? Did we release rejection? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion we can release? Yes. Is it column A, column B? Is it odd row, even row, row 1, row 3, row 5? Is it conflict? Is it creative insecurity? Is it terror? Is it creative insecurity? Okay. So creative insecurity is essentially what it sounds like, is feeling insecure about putting your creativity out into the world. Right. Okay. Did we release creative insecurity? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion that we can release? Yes. Is it column A, B? Is it odd row, even row, row 1, 3? Is it crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness? Is it rejection? Can we release rejection? Yes. And different practitioners have different ways of doing this, like writing things down. I need to do this because I don't remember what comes up, and I wouldn't remember the rabbit hole that we went down with the idea allergy. And this is just the way that I found to be most effective for me, the way that I do it. So is there another trapped emotion that we can release from our right scapula? Yes. Is it column A, column B, odd row, even row, row 1, row 3? Is it crying, discouragement, rejection? Can we release discouragement? Did we release discouragement? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion we can release from our right scapula? No. Okay. Is there something else causing this idea allergy? Yes. Okay. And is this something else on the left side, the right side? Okay. Is it pathogens? Is it misalignments? It's misalignments. And is this on the left side, the right side? Is it connective tissue? Is it glands? Is it ovaries? Is it glands? Is this on the left side, the right side? Is it thyroid, thymus? Is it thyroid? Okay, so is her thyroid happy? No. Okay, so and is the thyroid unhappy due to trapped emotions? Yes. And so you'll see, like we talked about, different organs have different emotions. Yeah. Typically, I'll just go to these first because that's what's connected. Every once in a while when I do work on people, it'll take me outside of whatever emotion is connected to that particular organ. Okay, so I'm just going to move this over here, and we're going to this row 6 over here. So is it in the left side, the right side? So do we need to release pride, shame, shock? Is it shame? Can we release shame? Oops. Okay. Did we release shame? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. Is it column A, B? Is it pride? Is it shame? Is it shock? Is it unworthy? Can we release unworthy? Okay. Did we release unworthy? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. Is it left side, right side? Is it humiliation? Is it jealousy? Is it longing? Is it lust? Is it longing? Ah. Did we release longing? Yes. Is there something else that we can release from our thyroid? No. Something else that we can release from Rolly's thyroid? No. Is there something else that is causing this idea allergy? No. Can we release the idea allergy? Yes. Okay. Okay, we release this idea, allergy. Yes. Okay. My weight doesn't define who I am. Okay. Is there anything else that's causing a conflict with this statement? No. Is there anything else that's causing conflict with this statement? Did we resolve the conflict with this statement? Yes. Okay. Okay, take a deep breath in and just let out a good exhale. Okay. Okay, so just want to do a check-in because it's a lot of stuff, and especially the first time you're going through this, right? It's like, what is all this stuff? So just want to check in. How are you feeling? What's going on for you?
I'm not surprised by a lot of the things that came up. One question that I do have, though, is that when you were doing the right scapula, you have rejection twice. So what happens there?
Mm-hmm. So remember what we talked about with Inside Out, how every time she felt an emotion, the sphere would drop down?
Yep.
Right? So every time we experience something, we have a specific emotion attached to it. And when we release the emotions, we have to release them one at a time. It's not releasing it globally. Because if you release all the times that you felt rejection in your life, it'd be like, whew, right?
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunately this tedious, like one at a time. And so I'm guessing you've probably felt rejected more than twice in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, same thing with any of the other emotions. And so most people will have, like I mentioned earlier, like this an emotional home that they live in. So, I have clients who, like I had one client text me the other day and she's like, I noticed this comes up a lot in my thing. There's a thing called, in the energies, and here there's what's called a no will to live energy, and that's essentially when you're just like, I just don't want to live, right? Which is a little bit different than a will to die energy, right? I just want to die. A little bit different than I don't want to live. But she's like, I noticed that keeps coming up. She's like, is that just me, or is that normal? And I was like, it's you. And it's not abnormal. Like for me, when I first started doing this work, those came up a lot for me because most of my life I spent not wanting to live. Right? So I had so much of that had to be removed. But I have some clients that never comes up because it's just not a thing for them. Right? So you'll see the same emotions come up multiple times. You'll see different emotional traumas come up, different idea allergies, because it'll be an idea allergy to something different. But you'll see, like in your sacral chakra, things come up, multiple times. When I work with clients one-on-one and I work with them in a combined coaching and energy work, we go through and we clear the heart wall, which I talked about earlier. Then we go through and we clear all the energy centers. And then there's a bunch of other foundational things before we jump into these type of protocols. And it's fascinating because what I've seen is that when the clients that I do all that foundational stuff with, it is so rare that anything comes up from their chakras. And so it was interesting because I've been working on them so much, like working on you, and I was like, oh, look, a sacral chakra came up. Like I haven't seen that in a long time. Because we've gone through and cleaned out, and not to say it's all completely cleaned out, but it's cleaned out a lot so that it's like we're releasing stuff from like other parts of their body. So that's my long answer to your question of why you'll see it multiple times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to just pause because we had talked about doing the pain evaluation, and the pain evaluation is basically our measurement of before and after to see how you are before and how you are after, to see if there's any shifts in it. Okay. And so I'm going to go through these questions, and you can just close your eyes and just notice how it feels in your body when you hear the question. Right? And I recommend closing your eyes because this way you don't have to see the question and get in your head, which is what I would do. Right? Yeah. And you're going to answer in the scale of 0 from most minor to, I had to change that. Wait a minute. My computer's freaking out again. So 0 is most minor and 10 is most severe. Okay. And we had started to do this the other day, and I was like, no, I want to do this live. So the first question was, how problematic would you say your body worth issues as a whole? And you said a 7. Okay. So how stressed are you about your body?
8.
Mm-hmm. How severely does stress about your body interfere with your day-to-day activities?
Say that again.
How severely does stress about your body interfere with your day-to-day activities?
2.
How much control do your body issues have over your happiness?
2.
How blocked do you feel from loving your body fully?
7.
How blocked do you feel from nurturing your body?
8.
How unlikely does it seem that you'll ever be able to have a healthy, loving relationship with your body?
Okay, so yeah.
You ready to do it again?
Yeah.
Yep. How unlikely does it seem that you'll ever be able to have a healthy, loving relationship with your body?
Okay, so the unlikely is what's throwing me off. So if it's unlikely, so 0 to 10. So 10 would be that it's likely.
Yeah, sorry, my internet is saying that it's unstable right now. Cut it out. How unlikely, or
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the negative. The negative.
Yeah.
Content.
So let's because it's not, everybody does differently with that question. So how likely does it seem that you will ever be able to have a healthy, loving relationship with your body?
10.
Okay. So, and 10 is the most severe. So it's saying like, it's not very likely.
Oh, then no. then go to, is it 0 to 10 or 0?
Yeah.
So then 0.
Okay.
That's why I got confused with that. I'm like, hey, this isn't.
I totally get it. Yeah. How blocked do you feel from achieving the results of your body love related efforts?
Say that again.
Yep. How blocked do you feel from achieving the results of your body love related efforts?
4.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel any shame about your body? If so, how much?
Um, 3.
How many times out of 10 do you avoid social plans due to doubting or not loving your body?
0.
How difficult have you found it to say I love you to your body?
Since doing your thing, so 7.
Yeah. And how difficult have you found it to be compassionate with your body?
Okay, so how difficult? So when we get into these negative words,
I know, trust me, I'm with you. Yeah. So how difficult is like, 0 would be like, no, I don't find it difficult at all to be compassionate with my body. And 10 would be like, yeah, I feel it's really difficult to be compassionate with my body.
So 4.
Okay. How often do you put your body down daily?
2.
Okay. And how likely are you to talk negatively to your body?
How likely am I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then if I do 2, then that means not very much?
Yeah, like I'm not there.
Yeah, so then 2.
Okay, and I just want to circle back. The question: how difficult have you found it to say "I love you" to your body? I just want to check in that you said a 7, so that would mean like it's pretty difficult to say it. Say "I love you" to your body.
Yes.
Okay. We're done.
Okay.
So just for like, as people can see, there's some that are like things that are like big sticking points, like the 7s and 8s, like they're sticking points, and then there's some that are like, no, this isn't an issue, which is so common for people when we go through this. There's some things where they're like, generally for most people that like things aren't like super high on all of them, right? So like where some people, like you said, how much control does your body issues have over your happiness? Some people are like, yeah, I don't like my body and stuff, but it's not going to stop me from being happy, right? But some people are like, oh my gosh, it's like, I can't be happy unless I like my body, right? So, okay. And so we're going to use this. So after we do the work, then we'll go through to see the difference between them. And then see, are there still some sticking points that still need to be worked on? Okay. So I just want to check in with you because we can continue and just keep working until your body says that it's done, or if you want to, and the way that I'll just explain now, the way that this works is once we're done, and once your body says it's done releasing, then I'll ask how many days it takes Rolly's body to process. And that's essentially, if you imagine being on an operating table and getting sewn up, right? It'll take the body a couple days to have the inflammation to go down before they can go back and operate again, is what we're doing is surgery on her energetic body. And so once that time is up, then I'm going to come in and do this work again, but we don't have to jump on a call or anything. She gives me permission to do it. I do it. And then I send you, I send you the information. I'll send you a voice memo that's saying, hey, this is all the stuff that's come up. And then it's also going to be here in this Google Drive document as well. So do you want to keep going?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to see, is there something else that we can release that she can be 100% in alignment? Yes. Okay. Is this in her statements? Is this in the other list? Is it in her statements? Okay. Is this in the negative, the positive? Is this the first statement, the second statement? Do we need to work on the second statement? Okay. Do we need to work on my body feels tired? Yes. And is there something that we can release that's causing conflict with this statement? Yes. Is it left side, right side? Is it pathogens, misalignments? And is this on the left side, the right side? Skeleton. Is it the left side, the right side? Left side. Is this on the left side, the right side? Is this on the left side, the right side? The right side. Is it clavicle, scapula, humerus? Is this a right humerus or left humerus? Okay. So it's in your humerus bone, left side. Okay. And is this unhappy due to a trapped emotion? Yes. And it's trapped emotion column A, B, odd row, even row, or 1, row 3, confusion, defensiveness, grief, self-abuse. Can we release self-abuse? So self-abuse is negative self-talk. Okay. Did we release self-abuse? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. In column A, B, odd row, even row, 1. Is it abandonment? Is it betrayal? Is it forlorn? Is it betrayal? Okay. Can we release betrayal? Yes. Did we release betrayal? Yes. Okay. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. Is it column A, B? Hey, is it odd row, even row, or 1, or 3, row 5? Is it blaming? Is it dread? Is it fear? Is it dread? Okay. Is it dread? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. Is it column A, B, odd row, even row, or 1, row 3? Okay. Is it confusion? Is it defensiveness? Is it grief? Is it self-abuse? Is it grief? Did we release grief? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion? Yes. Is it column A, B, odd row, even row, or 1, row 3? Is it confusion, defensiveness, grief, self-abuse? Can we release self-abuse? Did we release self-abuse? Yes. Is there another trapped emotion we can release from our humerus? No. Is my body feels tired? Yes. Is there something else that we can release that's causing conflict with this statement? Yes. Is it left side, right side, energies? Left side, right side. Is it post-traumatic, offensive, mental? Is it post-traumatic? Is it on the left side, the right side? Is it inflammation? Is it miasm? Is it inflammation? Okay, so inflammation energy is essentially what it sounds like, right? There is some kind of energy stuck inside of you, some kind of inflamed energy, and it is, we want to release the underlying causes before we just go ahead and release the inflammation energy. And sometimes our bodies, sorry, it's not, it's taking forever to type out. Sometimes our bodies will release things right away, and sometimes we have to ask a little bit more. But some things like this, we want to get rid of the underlying causes, right? So is there something causing this inflammation energy? Yes. Is it on the left side, the right side? Is it energies, circuit? Is it energies, circuits and systems? Okay. Is it energies? And is this on the left side, the right side? Is it post-traumatic? Is it offensive? Is it mental? Is this on the left side, the right side? Is it a broadcast message? Is it despair anchor images? Okay, so it's a despair anchor. And a despair anchor is a negative statement that is said over and over again, and that your body perceives as truth. And then it looks to verify that truth, right? And so it could be a statement. It could be a question. Like sometimes, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What comes up, it could be that the despair anchor could just be, you know, my body's tired. My body's tired, right? And you just keep putting that on a loop over and over again. When you think about having a despair anchor under the umbrella of my body feels tired, what do you feel like it could be? That
I'm not getting the proper rest.
Okay. So is her despair anchor, I'm not getting proper rest. Okay, so that's an easy one. Okay. This is where the type edits drive me crazy. Ah! This is where it does not serve me. Rest. Yeah. Okay, can we release this despair anchor? Yes. Did we release this despair anchor? Yes. Okay, so what would you like to, since we created a vacuum and the universe is not like vacuums, what would you like to put in place of that vacuum?
That I sleep peacefully and restfully.
Okay, so what I want you to do is to say the statement out loud 3 times, and I'm going to, while you do that, just run the magnet over the head so that we can set the intention to put it into you.
Okay. I sleep peacefully and restfully. I sleep peacefully and restfully. I sleep peacefully and restfully.
Okay, and so take a deep breath in, and let out a big exhale. Okay, that old statement, if you say that old statement, how does that feel in your body when you say it?
I'm not getting the proper rest. Nothing.
Good. That's what we want.
Okay. I'm like, nothing.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So, is there something else causing this inflammation energy? Yes. Okay. Is this on the left side, the right side? Is it energies? The left side, right side? Is it post-traumatic offensive? Is it post-traumatic? Left side, right side? Is this a psychic trauma? Okay, so psychic trauma is when you have 2 or more emotions felt really strongly at the same time. If you imagine a marble that has 2 colors in it that are intertwined, that would be a psychic trauma. Okay. And so the psychic trauma, so well, that is the psychic trauma in, well, you know, I'm just going to move this. So I'm just going to go back over here to this list. Is the psychic trauma in column A, column B? Is it odd row, even row? Is B, is it odd row, even row? Is it row 2, row 4? Okay, so we're going B2. Is it failure? Is it helplessness? Is it hopelessness? Is it helplessness? Okay. Okay. And is there another, can we release this psychic trauma? Yes. Okay, and is there another emotion? Yes. Is it column A, column B? Is it odd row, even row? Is it row 2, row 4, row 6? Is it pride? Is it shame? Is it shock? Is it unworthy? Is it worthless? Is it unworthy? Okay. Can we release unworthy? Yes. Okay. Did we release unworthy? Yes. Did we release the psychic trauma? Yes. Okay. Is there something else causing this inflammation energy? No. Is there something else causing this inflammation energy? No. Can we release the inflammation energy? Yes. Okay. Did we release this inflammation energy? Yes. Okay. So my body feels tired. No, my body feels tired. Okay. Did we resolve the conflict with this statement? Yes. Okay. And is there, let me just put a date on this. I like to just date them to know that we've completed them. And sometimes we need to go back through them. That's not unusual too. So is there something else that we can work on so that she can be 100% in alignment? Okay, no. Is there something else that we can work on so that we're going to be 100% alignment? No. Okay, she's done releasing emotions for today. Yes. Okay. Does she need time to process? Yes. Does she need more than a day? Yes. More than 2 days? More than 3 days? Okay. Does she need 2 days to process? Okay. Okay. And let me just make sure I write in my book so when I do work again, I know to do it, because if I don't write it down right now, I forget. Okay. So in 2 days, it'll be like 48 hours. So more, which would take us to 8:15 on Friday night. And I don't have that exciting of a life, but I'm more than likely not going to be doing work on 8:15 on Friday night. So put it down for Saturday. So it'll give you a full like 48 hours to process. Okay. But we're going to go back up to these statements and to this statement, and then also to the other numbers and see where you are now. Because like I said, ideally, we want to get them to 100%. So let's go through and read this statement again. You read it out loud, and then we'll check and see where you are with that.
Okay. So I am freely giving to and receiving love from my body daily through eating clean, walking daily or every other day, no less, being able to get proper rest. My relationship with my body is healthy, supportive, and allows me to feel energized, clarity, good, more flexible, more physical independence. I am my highest and best version of my physical self. I am also creating balance in my emotional, mental, and spiritual health and spending time on things that uplift me, such as being able to walk, hiking trails, and dancing. My relationship with my body assists me in nurturing healthy, loving friend and family relationships and keeping all other areas of my life balanced and happy.
Awesome. Okay. So is Rolly in alignment with this statement? More than 56%, more than 60, more than 65, more than 70, okay, 65, 66, is she in alignment 66%, okay? And I know it may not seem like a lot, but I'd rather take slow and steady, right?
Yep.
Than way too much, okay? So we're gonna go up to nurture mode. Okay, so is she in nurture mode more than 38%? Okay, more than 40, more than 45, more than 50, more than 55, 51, 52, 53. Is she in nurture mode 53%? Okay. And okay, so is she in stagnant mode? Is she in stagnant mode more than 37, less than 37, less than 35, less than 30, less than 25, so 25, 26, is she in stagnant mode at 26%? Okay. Okay, and is she in conflict mode at 21%? Okay. Again, I know it may not seem like a bunch, right? But that's like the waters have to even themselves out.
Yep. But I think that that shifted quite a bit, I think. A lot more than I would have thought.
Yeah, good.
Right? Because I went from 38 to 53.
Mm-hmm.
And then the stagnant and the conflict just kind of shifted a little, like balanced each other. But like I think that the nurture mode switched a bit.
Good, yeah. I like that because some people are like, oh, that's it. Settle down.
But I also do energy work, so I get that. So, yeah.
Okay, so is she in acceptance mode more than 47%? More than 50, more than 55, more than 60, more than 65, 61, 62, 63? Is she in acceptance mode at 62%? Okay, so we're at 62. Okay, and is she in stagnant mode more than 33%, less than 30, less than 25, less than 20, less than 15, then 15, 16, is she in stagnant mode at 16%? Okay, and is she in rejection mode at 22%? And this is where I said sometimes like one will go up more than down, but don't even pay attention to that.
Yep.
Just like, just focus on the acceptance mode stuff, and that number rising. So I'm just going to scroll back down to here just to keep this up. So when I work on somebody, sometimes a whole bunch of stuff comes up, like and go to like 10 statements in one session, and sometimes it's one, and sometimes it's two. It just depends.
Yeah.
With that second statement, how did that stuff resonate with you?
The second statement, so my body feels tired. Yeah. As my body feels tired right now. So it's I'm like I said, I'm feeling tired. But I was feeling tired before coming on the call. Mm-hmm. So
with the stuff that was the stuff that was released, how did that resonate with you?
So as you were doing the work, because right now I'm not sensing anything, but as you were doing the work, I could feel, and I guess that's more for the first one, is that because I was injured, like so in my neck and in my, and like that's where they actually had to do a lot of work from when I actually was injured. Like I was, after my second injury, I couldn't even lift my shoulder. So my arm. And so it was, but I could actually feel it all in there. Like I could feel it in the and I can't say it, the
Yeah, scapula.
that part. So I could actually feel it in there. And so like the, but actually, as I'm checking in, because that was one of the other things is that was happening, but then I could feel it in my hip because that's my other, like, and I don't know if it's not necessarily my hip, because it's like in between, behind, I don't know what that's called. But it was, like, as you were doing stuff, I could feel things in there and I could feel that it was inflamed, but I'm not feeling that.
Nice. I love seeing your eyes, like those processing going on.
Yeah. So, so those are, so I'm not feeling that inflamed, but when you were initially doing it, like I can still feel my shoulder and neck though. So like that's still there. Like not that I'm expecting all that to just disappear, but like that inflammation that I had when you were working, like I could feel it in my hip and I actually had to shift positions and I was having trouble getting comfortable, and I'm not having trouble, like I'm not feeling it in that hip part.
Right. Awesome.
So
good. Okay. I'm going to stop the screen share now. So there's so many, as you know, doing energy work, right? Like you may be wiped out and just need a ton of sleep tonight.
Yep.
Right? You may experience nothing at all. Or you may experience all the emotions, that wake up and you wake up tomorrow and you're like, the world hates me and everybody and that's completely like normal because it's just the stuff coming out of you. And so I know you know this, but just, for everybody watching, it's just to really just, what I call the AAA method is just to acknowledge like, oh, there's that emotion of rejection coming up, and it's okay. Just accept it, like accept that it's there and allow it to be there. So acknowledge, accept, allow, oh, there's rejection. It's okay that you're there and I'm going to let you be here. You can't run the show, but I'm going to let you be here. Okay. And that's all the emotions want. That's why they get stuck inside of us is because we don't acknowledge them. We don't accept them. We don't allow them to be there. So it gets stuck inside of us. So whatever comes up, it's beautiful and good. Drink a ton of water, as much water as you can. In the next
that's what I've been doing while we've been doing this. So I'm like, I've almost finished my whole bottle already. So I started this bottle when we got started. So I've got half of it almost all gone. So
awesome. Good. Yeah. And so on Saturday, I'll do more work on you. And then I will send you a voice recording of what comes up. And then it'll also be in this Google Drive document. Right? And we're just going to keep going until it gets to 100%. And then we'll give it like 2 weeks or so to settle in, just to because sometimes we don't see the results right away. Right. So we want to give it a little bit of time, and then we could just jump back on and go through the pain evaluation and talk about your experience and everything.
Okay. And for those of you that are watching, we're going to do this live again so that you guys have that whole process. So just because that was the whole point of doing this, is having that new, like that from the start to the finish, that this is like, I've never done this with Heather. So I have absolutely no idea. Actually, I've never done the body code period, but but definitely not done this with Heather. So this is completely brand new. And so, so we wanted you guys to be able to get that full experience of what it's like to be able to do this work with Heather. So.
Yeah. And it's great. I will say the reason why I like to do it remotely is because I can get done a lot faster, right? When I'm doing it on my own, and not having to jump on calls, and people are like, hey, if you just do the work and I don't have to do anything, that's great. Go for it. Just, wave your magic wand. And there are times when we have to jump on the call, but when things come up, like a despair anchor, like you and I weren't on the phone, and a despair anchor came up, I just sit with it for a while to see, and your subconscious will say what it is, as wackadoo as it sounds, it always comes up. And so typically it's just much faster for me to just do the work and go through it. And, just be gentle with yourself.
Okay. I will.
Awesome. Thanks for playing with me.
Not a problem. So like, thanks very much for being able to do this. So, so when we did the Facebook Live, that was, when we did Monday Whispers chat, there was some technical glitches and there was a lot of interruptions. And so like when Heather suggested being able to do this, it was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just go ahead. And like I said, that anxiety came up and oh, light bulb, fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Right? What happens if somebody watches this and thinks like, oh my God, Rolly's completely crazy, right? So,
yeah.
So there it is.
Well, and that's what I love about this work too, is that we don't have to get into our story, right? Yeah. Like, oh, well, when I was 5, this happened. Da, da, da. Yes, there's the pre-work, right? The pre-work is though, and that's a sheet that I'll send that has like questions in it, but that's more for you and, you and to start your subconscious and conscious to start working together. It's not shared with anybody else. And like, I know when I was starting to do this work and I asked my brother if I could work on his heart wall, he's like, I don't know if I want you to know these things about me. I'm like, to know that you have trapped emotions, like it's one of a list of 60 that we all have at some point. So it's not like knowing like your deepest, darkest secrets, right? And so, as I mentioned, like with therapy, like we need to tell our story. We need to be able to know what we've experienced. And, right, more so than that, we need somebody to just move it out of us. Right? Yeah. And so, having that combination is a really beautiful thing. And so I know, like, you're working with people. You're working with people who are, you're working with a coach and you're coaching people, right? And I have some people who come to me, they're like, oh, just do the energy work. And I'm like, no, because if you're not working with it, right, to like learn to redirect your thoughts and that kind of stuff, it's just, it's not going to be, I want to work with people who want to really want to make the change and not be at cause of what everybody else is doing. Yeah. We're just going to like, oh, somebody else to clear this energy. We're not taking responsibility for our own life. Like, I don't want to work with you. I just won't. So that's why it's such a, great blend of both ends.
And it's like, it is so important. And that's the reason why, like, even with the work that I'm doing now, it's that combination of doing the psychotherapy along with the energy work. And so this is a great combination of being able to do these things. And so like whatever that energy work looks like for different people, like I like your process of the body code that you actually showed, like the because it helps give that logic, right? Because sometimes it just doesn't have that logic. And so it helps to be able to give that logic. So I like that that visual aid that you were talking about. So yeah.
I agree. Awesome.
So on that note, we will talk to everybody later. And thanks for joining us on the replay, obviously not live because Facebook's having a meltdown right this second.